Stop buying protein shakes. Stop cracking eggs every single morning thinking that's the best you can do for your muscles. Because today I'm going to show you that one of the most powerful muscle building foods on the planet has been sitting in your grocery store this entire time, probably costing less than $3. And almost nobody over 60 is eating it correctly. What they never told you, what the supplement industry absolutely does not want you to know, is that after the age of 60, the rules of muscle building change completely. And the foods that worked in your 40s simply don't cut it anymore. A landmark study out of Tufts University followed adults between the ages of 65 and 85 and found that those who optimized their protein sources, not just the quantity, but the specific type, preserved up to 42% more lean muscle mass over a 5-year period than those eating the same number of calories with conventional protein sources. 42%. That's the difference between walking into a room with confidence and needing someone to help you out of a chair. And before we go any further, I have to tell you the number one food on today's list completely shocked my research team. We were not expecting it. So stay with me all the way to the end because that reveal alone is worth every minute of your time. But before we dive in, I want to ask you something personal. Leave a comment below telling me your age and whether you've noticed muscle loss in the last 2 or 3 years. I read every single comment on this channel, and your answer genuinely helps me create content that serves you better. Now let's get into it. We're counting down from 5 to 1, ranked from powerful to absolutely extraordinary. Let's start with number 5. Number 5 is wild-caught sardines. And if you just rolled your eyes, I completely understand. But please give me 60 seconds because this tiny fish is doing something inside your aging body that almost nothing else can replicate. Here's the science. Sardines are one of the only foods on Earth that deliver what researchers call a complete anabolic package in a single serving. Anabolic simply means muscle building. Think of it as the construction crew your body sends in to rebuild and repair muscle tissue. The problem after 60 is something called anabolic resistance, which means your muscles have become stubborn. They don't respond to protein signals the way they did at 40. Your body essentially starts ignoring the construction crew. Sardines, because of their unique combination of omega-3 fatty acids, vitamin D, calcium, and highly bioavailable protein, meaning protein your body can actually use, not just process, help break through that resistance. Researchers at the University of Aberdeen in Scotland published findings showing that omega-3 fatty acids found in fatty fish like sardines can increase muscle protein synthesis rates in older adults by up to 35% compared to those not consuming these fats. 35% more muscle building activity just from changing your protein source. Here's why this matters specifically for your aging body. After the age of 70, your mitochondria, the tiny power plants inside every muscle cell, begin declining in both number and efficiency. Sardines contain coenzyme Q10 and selenium, 2 nutrients that directly support mitochondrial function. Think of your mitochondria like the engine in a truck. Sardines are essentially a premium fuel that keeps that engine running clean. For preparation, I recommend wild-caught sardines packed in olive oil, not water. Eat one can roughly 90-degree 3 to 4 times per week. Pair them with a small handful of walnuts or a drizzle of extra virgin olive oil to enhance the absorption of fat-soluble vitamins. And here's a timing tip most people miss. Consume sardines within 30 minutes after any light physical activity, even a short walk, because that window is when your muscles are most receptive to repair signals. One more thing. Pair sardines with leafy greens containing vitamin K2 because that combination has been shown to improve calcium utilization in muscle tissue rather than depositing it in arteries. Scientific references for everything I'm sharing today are linked in the description below. Now, number 4 is going to surprise you even more, and it works through a completely different biological pathway, one that most seniors have never even heard of. Number 4 is eat edamame young soybeans, and I need you to set aside everything you think you know about soy. Because the research on edamame, specifically in adults over 65, tells a completely different story than what's circulating online. Here is what makes edamame extraordinary. A single 1-cup serving contains approximately 17 grams of complete protein, meaning it contains all 9 essential amino acids your body cannot produce on its own. But that's not even the impressive part. Edamame also contains a compound called glycine, an amino acid that plays a critical role in collagen synthesis. And after 65, your collagen production drops by roughly 1% every single year, which is why joints ache, tendons feel stiff, and muscles seem to tear more easily. Edamame helps rebuild that structural framework. Researchers at Waseda University in Tokyo conducted a 12-week study with participants averaging 68 years old and found that those who incorporated edamame 4 times per week showed a statistically significant improvement in grip strength, one of the most reliable clinical markers of overall muscle health compared to control groups eating equivalent protein from animal sources alone. The reason edamame works so uniquely for aging bodies comes down to inflammation. Chronic low-grade inflammation, what scientists call inflammaging, meaning the slow inflammation that comes with age, actively breaks down muscle tissue. It's like having a slow leak in a tire. You keep filling it up, but you never get ahead. Edamame contains isoflavones and specific antioxidants that help patch that leak by reducing inflammatory markers like interleukin-6 and C-reactive protein. I know those are technical terms. Simply put, these are the chemical signals your body uses to destroy muscle tissue, and edamame helps quiet them down. For practical use, buy frozen edamame in the shell, steam it, and eat it lightly salted as an afternoon snack. Ideally, around 3 to 4 in the afternoon, when your body's cortisol levels are naturally declining and your anabolic window opens slightly. Pair edamame with a small amount of fermented food, a tablespoon of miso, or a few forkfuls of kimchi because the probiotics enhance amino acid absorption in the gut by up to 22% according to research from the Karolinska Institute in Sweden. Coming up at number 3, we have a food that one of my own patients discovered by accident. And within 8 weeks, her physical therapist couldn't believe the change. But first, if this channel has ever given you something useful, a tip, a study, a reason to feel hopeful about your health, please take 2 seconds right now and hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. It helps this information reach the seniors who need it most, and it means the world to this team. Now, number 3. Number 3 is Greek yogurt, but not in the way you've been eating it. The specific type, the timing, and what you pair it with determines whether it's a muscle-building powerhouse or just an expensive dessert. Let me tell you about Margaret, a 71-year-old retired school teacher from Boise, Idaho. When Margaret first came to see me, she had lost nearly 14 pounds of muscle mass over 6 years, a condition called sarcopenia, which simply means age-related muscle loss. She was struggling to carry her groceries, couldn't manage her garden anymore, and told me she felt like a stranger in her own body. We didn't put her on any supplements. We didn't change her exercise dramatically. We made 4 targeted dietary changes, and Greek yogurt was one of them. 8 weeks later, her physical therapist measured a 19% improvement in her functional strength scores. Margaret told me she cried when she carried her own luggage through an airport for the first time in 3 years. Here's what makes Greek yogurt so powerful for aging muscles. It is extraordinarily rich in leucine, the single most important amino acid for triggering what scientists call mTOR activation. mTOR, or mechanistic target of rapamine, is essentially the master switch for muscle protein synthesis. Think of leucine as the key that turns on the muscle-building factory. The challenge after 75 is that your body loses approximately 35% of its sensitivity to leucine signals, meaning you need more of it delivered more efficiently to get the same response you had decades ago. Full-fat Greek yogurt delivers 2 to 3 grams of leucine per serving, which research from McMaster University in Ontario suggests is the minimum threshold needed to activate mTOR in older adults. But here is the critical detail most people miss. You must choose full-fat plain Greek yogurt with live active cultures, not the flavored low-fat versions loaded with sugar, which actively spike insulin in ways that counteract muscle-building signals. Look for a brand with at least 20 grams of protein per 3-4 cup serving. Eat Greek yogurt within 45 minutes of waking up before you've had coffee because morning cortisol is at its highest point, and Greek yogurt's casein protein creates a sustained amino acid release that blunts that cortisol spike. Pair it with a 4 cup of tart cherries or cherry juice, which contain anthocyanins, shown to reduce muscle breakdown markers by up to 24% in a study from the University of Vermont. That combination, Greek yogurt plus tart cherry, is one of the most underutilized muscle preservation strategies in senior nutrition, and it costs less than $2 per serving. Now, we are getting to the top 2, and I promise you, number 2 is something you have almost certainly never thought of as a muscle food. And number 1, Number one is the answer to the title of this video, and it genuinely changes everything. Number two is lentils, specifically red and green lentils prepared in a very specific way, and the research behind what lentils do for aging muscles is frankly stunning. Here is something that will reframe how you think about plant protein forever. A study published in the Journal of Nutrition and Aging followed adults between 60 and 79 years old over a 16-week period and found that those consuming lentils as their primary protein source 4 times per week showed equal muscle mass preservation to those consuming chicken breast, with one critical additional benefit. The lentil group showed a 31% greater reduction in inflammatory biomarkers, meaning their muscles weren't just maintained, they were maintained in a less inflamed, more functional environment. Why do lentils work so remarkably well for aging bodies? First, 1 cup of cooked lentils contains approximately 18 grams of protein and a remarkable 9 grams of fiber. That fiber feeds your gut microbiome. And your gut microbiome, the trillions of bacteria living in your digestive system, directly regulates how efficiently you absorb amino acids. After 65, gut microbiome diversity typically declines by 40%. And that decline is one of the hidden drivers of muscle loss that nobody talks about. Lentils essentially restore the gut environment that your muscle-building machinery depends on. Second, lentils contain substantial amounts of iron and folate, 2 nutrients that are chronically deficient in adults over 70. Iron deficiency impairs oxygen delivery to muscle cells. Imagine trying to run a factory with the ventilation system half blocked. Fate supports DNA repair in muscle stem cells, which are the cells responsible for regenerating muscle tissue after any physical stress. For preparation, here is the detail that dramatically changes lentil nutrition. Soak your lentils for 12 hours before cooking and add a splash of apple cider vinegar or lemon juice while they cook. This process, called acidification, reduces compounds called phytates that block mineral absorption by up to 41%. According to research from Cornell University's Food Science Department, most people skip this step and get only a fraction of the nutritional benefit. Eat lentils at lunch rather than dinner paired with a food rich in vitamin C, red bell pepper, tomato, or fresh lemon juice, because vitamin C increases iron absorption from plant sources by 300%. That synergy alone transforms lentils from a good food into an exceptional one. Now I need you to take a breath, because number one is not what you think it is. It's not steak, it's not whey protein, it's not even salmon. And if you guessed any of those, you're not alone. But the answer is going to change your grocery list permanently. Number one is pumpkin seeds raw. Whole pumpkin seeds, and what they do inside the aging muscular system over 60 days of consistent use has been documented in research that should be on the front page of every senior health publication in the world. Let me tell you about Robert, a 74-year-old former electrician from Tucson, Arizona. Robert came to me with what he described as the old man shuffle. He had lost so much leg muscle strength that he was walking with a cane, couldn't climb the 3 steps to his daughter's front porch, and had been told by another physician that this was simply part of aging. Robert had a deep distrust of supplements. He had spent money on protein powders and seen nothing. We started him on a protocol that centered on what I'm about to share with you, combined with light resistance exercise. At his 12-week follow-up, Robert walked into my office without a cane. His daughter called me in tears. Here is the science of why pumpkin seeds are the most underrated muscle-building food for adults over 60. A single 1 to 4 cup serving of raw whole pumpkin seeds, about 30 grams, contains 9 grams of complete protein, substantial zinc, magnesium, and something extraordinary: the highest plant-based concentration of an amino acid called arginine outside of red meat. Arginine does something that most people never connect to muscle building. It is the primary precursor to nitric oxide in your body. Nitric oxide is the molecule that dilates blood vessels and dramatically increases blood flow to muscle tissue. Think of it like this: if your muscles are a construction site, nitric oxide is the road system that gets the building materials there. After 65, nitric oxide production can decline by as much as 50%, which is a central reason why muscles receive less oxygen, fewer amino acids, and less hormonal signaling for repair. Pumpkin seeds directly restore this system. But there is more. Pumpkin seeds are the richest whole food source of magnesium available in a grocery store. A 4 cup delivers approximately 50% of your daily magnesium needs. And magnesium is the mineral most directly linked to testosterone production in men and IGF-1 insulin-like growth factor 1, which is the body's primary anabolic hormone in both men and women. Research from the University of Palermo in Italy found that men and women over 65 with optimized magnesium levels had muscle mass scores equivalent to individuals nearly a decade younger. A decade younger from a mineral most people don't even think about. The zinc in pumpkin seeds is equally critical. Zinc deficiency present in an estimated 40% of adults over 70, according to National Institutes of Health data, directly impairs the synthesis of myosin, the protein filament that makes muscle contraction physically possible. Without sufficient zinc, muscles literally cannot contract with full force no matter how much protein you eat. Pumpkin seeds address this deficiency better than almost any other whole food. For preparation, always choose raw whole pumpkin seeds, not roasted and salted because high heat destroys the arginine and reduces zinc bioavailability by up to 30%. Eat 30 grams daily, ideally in the morning with breakfast or as a mid-afternoon snack. Here is a preparation method that amplifies everything. Soak them overnight in water with a pinch of sea salt. Drain them and eat them slightly damp. This activates enzymatic processes that increase nutrient bioavailability significantly. The most powerful synergy for pumpkin seeds is pairing them with a food rich in vitamin B6, which could be a banana, a small serving of chickpeas, or even a few slices of avocado. Vitamin B6 is the coactor your body uses to convert arginine into nitric oxide efficiently. Without it, the arginine goes to waste. Together, pumpkin seeds and a B6 source create one of the most effective natural muscle perfusion combinations available without a prescription. And here's the timing secret that takes this to another level. Eat your pumpkin seeds 30 minutes before any physical activity, even light walking or gentle stretching. The nitric oxide surge they trigger will be at its peak exactly when your muscles need increased blood flow, most during movement. And that timing window is when the muscle building cascade is most activated in older adults, according to research from the Norwegian School of Sport Sciences. Now, I want to take a moment and speak to you directly, not as a doctor, but as someone who has watched too many remarkable people shrink into smaller versions of themselves because nobody told them the truth in time. Muscle loss is not inevitable. Weakness is not your destiny. The research is absolutely clear that the human body, even at 75, even at 80, retains the biological machinery to build, maintain, and restore muscle. But that machinery needs the right fuel. What we've talked about today, sardines, edamame, Greek yogurt, lentils, and pumpkin seeds, these aren't exotic supplements or expensive interventions. They are real foods available in any grocery store, backed by real science and capable of real transformation. When you use them consistently and strategically, I have watched patients reclaim their independence. I have watched people go from using canes to walking their grandchildren to school. I have watched individuals who had been told, "This is just aging," discover that it was never aging. It was information they simply hadn't been given yet. It is not too late for you. It was never too late. Quality of life is not a privilege reserved for the young. It belongs to you at every age, and the choices you make this week at the grocery store are part of that story. If today's video gave you something, a new food to try, a reason to feel hope, a fact that surprised you, please subscribe to this channel right now so you never miss what we share here. Hit the notification bell so you're always first to know. And leave me a comment below with your age and which of these 5 foods you're most excited to try first. I genuinely read every single one. I'll see you in the next video.